The late Queen's motto was never complain, never explain. There may be furore, frenzy and fabrication, but the monarchy should maintain a position of dignity and stoicism that befits its status and stability above the fray. In the most part, it always worked for her. The times, well, they are a-changing. The royal family is changing. The way people consume information about the royal family is changing. And through a series of unforced errors, the royals have completely lost control of a narrative they would dearly like to control. The front page of today's Sun newspaper reports that the Princess of Wales looked happy, relaxed and healthy on her first public outing since abdominal surgery, although that is not a picture, as they make clear, of her. It's an old one. It's not taken on this visit to a farm. They say that she and William spent the morning watching her three children play sports, and then they went to her favourite local farm shop in Windsor. And that's obviously good news. It means Kate is clearly on the mend. That's what everybody wants to hear. But there are no photographs with that story, for whatever reason, nor any named witnesses to the walkabout, for those who spent weeks speculating wildly about everything from the seriousness of her health struggles to the state of their marriage. It's unlikely to be enough to draw a line under this. There are many unanswered questions about the Princess of Wales and the calamitous edited photographs she released last week. We've documented them in detail on the show. At a time of indisputable crisis, it feels a bit of explaining and if necessary, complaining, maybe exactly what the Prince and Princess of Wales need to do. The public's reverence for the royals depends on integrity and on trust, and both of those things have taken a battering. Only William and Kate can really put this right. And amid the digital maelstrom that's rocked the royals' global reputation, of course, Meghan Markle has entered the conversation. On the same day that Princess Diana's memory was being honoured, she launched a new luxury lifestyle brand called American Riviera Orchard, whatever that means. It will apparently sell nut butters, garlic spreads and edible oils and fats to the rapidly diminishing number of people who may still see her as an aspirational figure. But the timing, well, pretty cynical, wasn't it? The continued exploitation of fading royal status by these two in Montecito is increasingly trashy. Why would you announce this on the very day that Prince William is standing up in London to pay tribute to his late mother? And the products, let's be honest, they sound wretched, don't they? We're entering the D-list of the Sussex circus, which contrasts with the dignity of William and Kate, and is of course precisely why Harry and Meghan lost the hearts and minds of royal fans everywhere in the first place. It's also why it's so important that William and Kate now win back the public's trust. Well, join me, the author of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, which is out in July, Robert Jobson, lawyer Paula Rowan-Adrian, podcaster and comedian James Barr, and from America, the founder and editor of TMZ, Harvey Levin. Well, Harvey, let's go to you first. You guys had the first picture of Kate a week or so ago, taken in a car with her mother, we believe on the school run. I know she's been to see the kids at school since then as well. She didn't, I have to say, Harvey, look much like the Kate we saw in the beaming Mother's Day picture, where she looked a picture of radiant health. In fact, quite the opposite. You've dealt with celebrities and royals for your entire career. What do you make of all this?
Well, I think I haven't seen this kind of bungling since prosecutors handed OJ Simpson that glove. I mean, it has been a fiasco. Not just what they said, which got them in trouble, but what they didn't say. I mean, they're putting out pictures that are edited, and then when they're asked to release the unedited photo, they refuse. I mean, what are they expecting? That there will be conspiracy theories, and I don't even want to call them conspiracy theories because people are just not buying the official story because of the way the palace has handled it. And when you look at the picture that we posted, you know, there are people now, they're so skeptical, they're reviewing it like the famous Zapruder film that was shot when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, where you can see bricks outside the car that don't necessarily match with the way the bricks look from inside the car. So the trust of Buckingham Palace has just been obliterated because of this. And Piers, I mean, the idea that major news outlets are treating what the palace puts out the way they treat what comes out of Iran and North Korea with kill notices is just breathtaking.
Yeah, and unprecedented. The other problem they have is they're becoming a bit of a running laughing stock in America. You know, we've seen the late night hosts piling in, and in Stephen Colbert's case, openly talking about the affair rumours involving William, which have never been published in the UK, and which, to be fair, we have no knowledge if that's true or not, but they're being openly discussed now on American television.
Well, can I just say, going back to the Mother's Day picture, I mean, if this is being managed by anybody at the palace, why didn't she have a wedding ring on?
Right.
I mean, it would have been such a no-brainer, so easy to do that. But every step along the way, there have been so many missteps that people are simply believing nothing.
Yeah, and the problem is, if you're trying to put out the fires of conspiracy theories, you don't do it by chucking a load of gasoline onto the fire, which is what they've done through all this. I mean, I have a lot of blame, actually, for the palace press teams, who just seem to have massively dropped the ball here. The idea that they wouldn't immediately ask, has this been edited, if they're going to release it as proof that everything's fine, is, to me, completely baffling. Kim Kardashian was on my way to find Kate, she said. You know, like I say, when you become a laughing stock like this, but also playing to the conspiracy theories of where the hell is Kate, it's not good, is it, for the royals?
Well, it's terrible for the royals. And look, it's not just a one-off. When you go back to the way they handled the crumbling of the marriage of Diana and Charles, when you look at Diana leaving Buckingham Palace and looking at the way that was handled, the way her death was handled, the way Prince Andrew was handled, the way Meghan and Harry was handled. I mean, there have been a series of bungles over a quarter century. But I think of all of them, at least, you know, it's hard to put context to it because we're in the middle of it. But this is feeling like the worst one, because this is not just the palace being heartless. It's the palace being unbelievable, the palace not having credibility. And without that foundational credibility, I don't know how they move forward.
I've never known so many people in America contacting me on a regular, even as I've been talking to you, I've had a couple of texts from high-profile people on American media asking what is going on with the royal family. Is it the beginning of the end, and so on? America does seem to be really agog with all this.
I cover everything that goes on in this country and have for decades. And this is one of those things. You're right. It has just taken over. This is what people are talking about here. This is number one, and everything else far below number two. I mean, people are consumed with it because it's a mystery. People in this country love mysteries. You know, I don't know if you guys get Dateline there, but it's very popular here because you always want to figure out who done it. And I think this is a whodunit right now. It's just that the version that's being released from the palace is off the table. People aren't buying it. They think it's got to be something different. That's why these social media conspiracies some of them are really catching fire, because as long as you have a thread that connects those theories to something with this, people are going to talk about it. It is number one in America right now. And we have a presidential election.
Right, which is incredible. And in the middle of all this, you've got the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Meghan and Harry, in California, still proving to be a massive thorn in the side of the royal family. On the day that William stands up in London to pay tribute to his mother, 25 years on with the foundation that was set up in her memory, there is Meghan Markle announcing the release of her new Instagram project, which she's going to make garlic jams or something. People seeing this as a quite deliberate attempt to take the attention away.
I have a slightly different take on this, Piers, than you do. I think in America, in a way, Harry and Meghan are on the upswing, because what I'm hearing is people saying, well, Meghan was right. It's impossible being a member of that family. And people who think that Kate might have had some kind of a nervous breakdown, they're looking at what happened to Meghan. They're looking at what happened to Diana. And they're saying, yep, it's impossible to live in that family. Meghan and Harry may be right. So in a way, I think in terms of their status, in terms of PR in America, it's gone up as a result of this.
How interesting, because over here, all the polls are they're getting more and more unpopular.
Yeah.
America is very important, Harvey, to the royal family, to the monarchy. I think if you took the American love of our royals away, you would be taking a very, very large chunk of their viability as a working, serving monarchy. How damaging is all this been, do you think, to the brand of the royal family and the monarchy?
I'll tell you why I think this is really damaging. That a lot of people in America, honestly, myself included, think that the royal family, it's just this stodgy group of people behind, this big wall at Buckingham Palace, and that William and Kate were kind of a breath of fresh air, that they were young, that they kind of connected to young people around the world, that they understood media. And now the way I think a lot of people are viewing this is they're using the same playbook as the 70 and 80-year-olds in the palace. And so there was this feeling and maybe even hope that William and Kate would dust off what had been going on in the palace for years. And I think now they're kind of viewing them as part of the problem.
Yeah. Harvey Levin, always brilliant to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Piers.
So Harvey, one of the smartest guys in American media, I've known him a long time, very plugged in, knows the celebrity game like nobody, knows the royal game from their side of things. Interesting, I thought, Robert, first off, what he said about Meghan and Harry, how in America they might be having a slight revisionist period where people are saying, well, this is what they were complaining about. This life's awful.
Well, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? There's no question about that. They've made, as he was saying, so many mistakes from beginning to end of this.
Why? I mean,
I don't know.
Who is running the palace press teams that is allowing all this to happen?
Well, number one, they've got this split press team. Back in the day when we were working together on The Sun, they'd have one umbrella. Buckingham Palace would speak for it all.
Correct. So what is it now? Just explain.
It's now Buckingham Palace speaks for the King and the other royals, and they have Kensington Palace, which speaks for William and Kate. And so this mistake is really through Kensington Palace. Now, that's an error in itself because you haven't got an overview. The whole overview, it means you've got things going on.
Of the monarchy's interest.
It's going in different directions. And there's even people saying, oh, that's Kensington Palace's problem. No, it's not. It's the whole of the royal family's problem. As we're seeing, people judging them and saying, this is worse than North Korea, worse than Iran. This is outrageous.
Yeah.
So they don't trust what's coming out there. We've over the years, we've had plenty of times where we didn't trust them, but the mistakes are huge. They have a photographer. They have Boris Johnson's old photographer, Andrew Parsons, who used to work with Boris behind the scenes. All those black and white pictures of, with his kids and everything, all of that was taken by. They have Andrew working with them. So why didn't he take the picture?
Right.
Why isn't he taking pictures now of them going to the tennis?
Why did nobody in the palace press office, at Kensington Palace, why did they not ask her if she'd edited these pictures?
That is a
because it looks so
mistake.
obviously edited.
Well, the pic, we could see that. I think again, it was a case of William and Kate will run it themselves. William doesn't necessarily want anybody else around Kate at this time. I'll do the picture. We'll sort it out ourselves. But this is global. Look at the fiasco it's caused. The question should have been asked, if you were running the show, if I was on the show, has anyone touched this picture up?
Right.
Because it doesn't look
First
right.
question.
First question, because I'm going to issue this, and it doesn't matter if it's a family photo.
No.
It's officially released by, let's just say the palace, and that's the impact it's had.
Paula, even as we're about to have this debate, the Ukraine British Embassy has given an official statement to say King Charles III is still alive after Russian media claimed he died as a result of cancer complications. It's not true. He is still alive, but they issued a statement saying, we would like to inform you that the news about the death of King Charles III is fake. It feels like really out of control, all this. And it may be that the reality is nowhere near as out of control, but the perception of what is happening is that it's chaotic and everyone's panicking. They're like, is Charles dying? What is wrong with Kate? Where is she? What happened with that picture? It's like constant kind of uncertainty.
And this is the thing, it really didn't have to be this complicated, did it? It really didn't, because...
Well, depending on what the reality is.
Well, what we're being asked to believe is that somebody who we know is an amateur photographer has taken many photographs of her children. We have had them published and we've been able to marvel over them. But on this occasion, it has all gone so dramatically
You know why?
wrong.
And you touched on an interesting thing there. I would go back. I would say probably all her pictures have probably been edited, right?
Which is going to be my next point.
There's a famous picture.
That was going to be my next
famous picture of the Queen shortly before she died with all the great-grandchildren, and they're all looking at the camera and smiling. I've got a lot of kids in my family. The idea that when they're all under 12, they'd all be looking at the camera smiling is impossible. Yes. So that has clearly been edited. Now, the problem is it's about trust.
Yes.
If the media are now going to start rejecting everything given to them by the palace, that's a real slippery slope. I've never known this, where news agencies like Reuters and AP issued a kill notice, basically saying, do not touch this, we can't trust them. It's unprecedented, isn't it?
There's this emotional contract, remember, between the subjects, us and the royal family. We love the royal family and they are supposed to love us, which means that they don't lie to us, they don't mislead us. Yes? And this is what we've discovered in the most shocking way.
But James, the problem here, I think, if you ask me to put my finger on it, William, like Harry, right, because of what happened to their mother, and I completely understand this, if that had been me and my mother being chased into an underpass by paparazzi, right, whatever the reality, which is actually it was a drunk driver that caused the accident and the paparazzi were 1,000 yards away and all this, right, the reality is if you're those boys at the age they were, 15 and 12, you think the media killed your mother.
Yes.
Right? So this is a burning dislike of the media generally.
But I think that's an interesting point, because is it the media that's coming for Kate right now, or asking questions? Not really. The media in this country is playing the game. They're telling everyone.
We didn't run the TMZ picture, which Harvey's team got, right? We didn't run it here in this country.
They are peddling these stories that the palace are asking them to put out, like the farm shop. I mean, that's ridiculous. No one's there. No one saw it happen.
It would have happened.
But how can you know that happened?
So this is really interesting, isn't it?
That would have been.
Rob immediately says that happened. Okay, and
how did it happen?
I'm sure from talking to the Sun.
There's no way Victoria Newton run that story.
Sorry, do we trust the Sun now? Because that's
actually on this I would, absolutely. And I because I've spoken to the editor.
Shall I tell you what?
No, hang on. I just want to make that point. It's interesting that your first reaction is not to trust it.
Well,
because the palace may have spoon-fed
because I'm sorry, it's
a lie.
Farm shop.
No, but this is the problem. Look, I actually think she was at the farm shop. However,
why
do you understand?
Why do you think none of the public took a picture?
Well, I understand why you don't believe it, because that comes down to the issue of trust, which has been severely damaged.
Absolutely. It's like me saying I saw the Loch Ness Monster and it was happy and healthy. But I haven't seen a picture of it.
I don't think, and I might be, maybe I'm one of the many conspiracy theorists on this, but when I saw the picture of Kate in the car with her mother taken by TMZ, it bears no relation to the picture we saw that she issued on that Mother's Day. And in fact, a lot of sleuths on the internet have said this is an old picture from an old set. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I just don't think she looks like she does in that Mother's Day picture. So did she put in an old picture? We don't know, because the palace won't release the original picture. And that in itself, to me, as a former tabloid editor, is like, well, that stinks, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you just release the original?
The trust is
know
broken.
Completely, and we know that we're always told, don't we? A royal source said, a friend close to Kate said, the witness said. That's not enough.
It's not
anymore.
Enough. An editor at the Sun said that's not enough, Piers.
And Harvey really referenced a relevant point.
They would have cleared it. Well, the point of it is, you say that's not enough. I mean, I've spent 35 years covering the royal family with sources. I broke the story that Charles was to marry Camilla, not with a named source. Within a day, it was confirmed. The sources do exist, and they are real. I don't believe the editor of the Sun in 2024 would just take a punt like that and get it wrong. I just don't. And you may have your reasons, you may not trust the Sun, but I work for the Sun. Piers worked for the Sun.
No, I totally believe Victoria Newton has published that knowing it's true. I know she's got very good sources at the palace. I'm interested though with James, with you, because you've been very passionate in your defence of Meghan Markle. I totally respect your right to do that. And it's interesting hearing what Harvey said about the way it's being slightly revised now, their complaints in light of what's going on. I understand that too. But you did a picture of yourself wearing a Free Kate T-shirt.
Yes.
Which many would say, well, you're kind of mocking a woman who's been seriously ill.
I don't think so.
But you were accused of doing that.
I was accused of it.
Do you not think there's a slight double standard there?
Absolutely not, no.
You race to protect Meghan from any criticism, but you pile in on Kate.
But that's not criticism of Kate. That's
what do you want to free her from?
I want to free her from this ridiculous situation where no one is saying anything. The truth isn't allowed out.
She's
the palace are controlling a narrative.
From surgery.
But do we know that?
Yes, we do know that.
Why do we know so much about King Charles right now?
T-shirt?
Because the king is the head of state.
Do you want a T-shirt, Piers?
How much are you selling
I'm selling them for £20.
other.
I think they're pathetic.
£20.
£20
I think
on my
that's
website.
pathetic.
And actually, the
Oh, so
proceeds,
basically
To be
you're just gonna
fair,
catch
to
the
be
them.
proceeds
fair,
go to a
It's
great
pathetic.
charity.
Which is the charity?
Check them out. They're called James Barr current account.
Well, I'll give you the charity money, but I just think that is
to be
pathetic,
fair,
honestly.
we
Why?
have a celebrity
Because
royal
she's not
family
free
now.
from what?
We have a
Free
celebrity
her
royal
from
family now. We have a
She's
celebrity royal family.
recuperating.
We had
She's
free
recuperating.
Britney.
Hang on, don't
She's
talk over each other.
recuperating
Paul, I'll
from
come to you in a minute.
surgery. That is what she's doing, and that is what's going on here. She's going to have a period of time of recuperation, and I'm sure after Easter, as they said, she will be back.
And if that is the
all
case-
of this nonsense will just disappear.
If that is
They've
the case,
handled it badly,
right.
yes.
If that is the case, and she does keep to the timetable they set out from the start, that somewhere around mid-April, after the Easter holidays, she appears somewhere and she talks about this. And from what I hear, and again, I don't know for sure, but from what I hear, it was a situation. It was a health issue that many women have, and they may have found some other complication that went with it, which made it more complicated. But they fixed everything, and she's going to be fine.
That's great news.
So
That's-
it's all
that's
good
what
news.
we all want.
And I hope that is, I've been accurately told this by a good source, but I think that is maybe what's happened here, and that she will talk about this when she's over it, right? I talked to a lot of women at the weekend about this. No woman would want to discuss this while it's going on, right? Let's be clear. Women's health issues are not for public consumption.
But that's not what
even
we've
in the
been
average
told.
family, never mind the royal. So we can demand more information, and I think it's in their interest to be a little bit more transparent. But ultimately, you're talking about a woman who has been through a hell of a health issue and who has also been through being called a racist by her sister-in-law.
Which is terribly
Right,
awful.
which is despicable in my opinion, and I think completely.
But actually,
untrue.
can I just correct you on that? I don't think Meghan said that specifically. I think
She did.
She said literally, Kate is a racist.
She
Did
said
say
that she is the one that she was talking about, along with Charles, who expressed. We know this from the Omi Scobie leaked book in
I think that
Holland,
was from
that Meghan Markle wrote a letter
According to
King Charles, in which she said that they had racially incendiary comments about the skin colour of her child, which I just don't believe. Right? I said it at the time. I don't believe it now. I certainly don't think Kate has a racist bone in her body, but she's had to deal with everyone believing she may be a racist.
And
let me ask you, Paul, about that.
Yes.
As a black woman,
Yes.
how do you look at Kate now? Did you believe that?
Right. So first of all, I think we're mixing the two stories.
No, I'm
We
talking
are-
about the
we-
general stress she's been under. It's not just been the health thing. She's lost Prince Philip, right?
Yes.
Her husband's
Grandfather.
Her husband's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, also died. Seismic shock, and moves her husband into second place for the succession to the throne. They've had all this mudslinging from the Sussexes, particularly the racism claims aimed directly at Kate, right? You put all this together, that's a lot for a woman to deal with
So
in the goldfish bowl of global media.
I see Kate and Meghan as being very similar characters.
What?
Easy to point the finger of blame
I
towards.
can't think
And
of two
so
more
and
different
so
people if you
I
try.
I can very easily have sympathy for both of them as a woman and as a woman of
Do you
colour.
believe Kate's
Absolutely.
do you believe Kate's a racist?
I have no idea whether she is.
Did you believe Meghan Markle when she first said that on Oprah Winfrey that
You're
members of the royal
misquoting.
family-
I was just going to say,
Hang on.
I don't think that that's...
Did you believe her at the time?
that what?
Meghan
that she-
Markle?
No, that... Hold
Did
on.
you believe that
Meghan-
members of the royal... Let me ask you, the sequence of events. Did you believe at the time, are you on record as having said that Meghan Markle, if she says members of the royal family were making racial inferences about the skin colour and potentially of her child, did you believe her?
So, what I understand she said...
I lost a job over it, so it's personal.
Well, I think what you lost a job over
Was not apologising for just believing it.
No, I
was in
think
relation to
Well, no, that's
making,
why.
Was also
raising
making-
allegations
That was why,
about
and
her
that was specifically why.
and disputing the status of her mental health.
No,
That
just
was
for not
my
believing it
understanding.
generally.
But I worry that we're veering off course here,
but
and that we're
answer my
dealing,
question, though.
and that we're dealing with
No, but
the
Paula, answer my-
emotional
it's-
instead of the specific.
Fine, but answer my question.
So
did
my
you at the time
understanding-
did you at the time believe Meghan Markle's racism claims?
Right. My understanding was it was Harry. So your focus is on Meghan, which concerns me, but actually it was
Meghan's the
Harry
one who said it on
who
Oprah Winfrey.
told Meghan. So thank you.
yeah.
So then the
She was
question
repeating
should,
what Harry
exactly.
said.
So why are we not asking Harry
Well, when
that
he did,
question?
No,
when
I'm
he
only
did,
asking-
he sort of
And
fudged
exactly.
it, didn't he?
So that's
he
what
then
we need
fudged
to
it and
focus
denied
on.
it.
He then said, "I never. We never
don't
said they were
need-
racist."
I appreciate that you want to focus the blame on Meghan, but actually I think your focus is incorrect and imprecise on this occasion. It was Harry that raised it.
No, it wasn't.
And then Harry
She
dealt
raised
with
it.
it.
She raised it.
She raised it on
publicly.
Oprah Winfrey.
Harry,
But then-
Harry spoke
he
to her about
dealt with it.
and so your question to me then, should she have raised it? I see no reason why not. She trusts her husband. She has faith in her husband.
So
why would her husband
do you
lie
believe
to
Kate's a
her?
racist?
I've
Why
just
are you
said
trying
to
to
you,
get
I
off
have
for
no
that?
idea.
Genuinely
But your
curious.
question to me should have
Because
been,
the idea of it
should
is to
she
me
have believed
preposterous.
her husband?
It's preposterous.
And the answer is yes,
You know,
she should have believed her husband.
on another matter, you were saying, well, the way that, we've seen with the king, we've seen all the way that they've handled the king, they put out things. Well, that's because he's the king. Constitutionally, he has to be doing his duties and doing his job, and that's why they've done it that way. But it comes back to what I said at the beginning. That was handled by Buckingham Palace. This has been handled by Kensington Palace, and they've got their own desires. William has got his own issues with the press, and he doesn't want anybody infiltrating anything to do with his wife.
Rob, I don't think you can divorce the Meghan and Harry saga.
No, I don't
from
think
all of it.
so.
It's all part of it, right?
Yeah.
We don't know if she's had some kind of breakdown, Kate. That's what some of the rumours are about. I don't know if that's true. But it wouldn't surprise...
Meghan said that she'd had a breakdown and you dismissed that.
Well, I didn't believe her, yeah. I thought a lot of her claims on Oprah were clearly palpable nonsense. She said that she and Harry got married by the Archbishop of Canterbury in their back garden. Had that been true, the Archbishop of Canterbury would have gone to prison.
And now
well,
what's
hang on.
happening is
Had
that people are
had that
doubting Kate's
Had that
word.
been true...
That's what's happening now, Piers.
I
You
agree.
understand that?
Had
They
that been
haven't
true,
said anything, though.
the Archbishop of Canterbury would have been
She
jailed.
apologised. She apologised
Oh, no, for
posting
faking the picture,
Yeah, that
yeah.
photograph.
Well-
And a lot of people have concerns that she's somewhat being thrown under the bus about
Well,
that.
I actually do have concerns. I think Kensington Palace
I agree.
should have
I'm
taken
glad.
full
I'm
responsibility
glad. I
and
agree.
not Kate and not
Yes.
William.
James,
think
what
the
about
same.
this idea that Harvey floated, which is that this sort of proves Meghan and Harry's point? Let me try and be devil's advocate. People know my position about them. I've got zero sympathy. However, it's interesting if Americans are starting to think, well, you know what? This is the kind of stuff they were talking about.
It is.
It
If you
is.
rewatch that
It's a
interview-
hellish life being trapped in this world. William, I know, is very angry about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And about his life and stuff. He's got to be king. He's never going to. He can't leave. I mean, he could, but he's not going to.
I think it's utterly disgusting that they had such a difficult time here and that the press continue to hound, and you were part of that, Piers, and still are, hound
Meghan and
Meghan.
Harry, I don't think they do.
It's-
I don't
I'm
think
not
they
hounding
do.
anybody.
There's articles out today calling them disgusting, narcissists,
Not mine.
etc. And I just think they need to be...
I'm literally just trying to
And
be
no, that was-
fair-minded about
that-
it.
and
that
what they
was-
said to
that
Oprah,
was
what
by
they said in that interview and what
an
Harry has
American
said
author.
in his books is very important because there
That
are
was
red
by an
flags.
American author.
There are
okay,
red
who was
flags.
at a literary society talking about her book, and the fact that she has said that, it's an American author.
Yeah.
That's not British press.
This is actually...
I
We
don't
didn't
trust the
need to
British
print it.
press.
We
Sorry,
didn't
what
need
is
to
this?
print it.
Why are you
We didn't
trusting
need
the
to
British
print it.
press?
Because I've worked for the British press for 35 years. I think you sit there to think that they'll put any old rubbish on the front page. You're living in cuckoo land
I'm
with your
absolutely
silly
not.
T-shirt on.
Well, thank you.
Nonsense.
I'm not living in
Utter
cuckoo land. I'll
You-
tell you
you
what's
believe it.
nonsense,
You're
that you
believing
think we should
nonsense
trust
on
an
play.
institution that...
No, I believe in
Robert,
the belief in journalism.
Did you believe the title Straight Out of Compton? Straight out
Did I believe that? No, I
out of
didn't
Compton.
believe that. No, but I think
know the
that's-
truth- you know
that's
the
a
truth-
commentary.
James is simply making the same
What are
point.
you talking about? You free Kate from what? What do you mean don't trust us, the media? They don't just put things in the paper willy-nilly like
Are you
online.
kidding?
Are you? No, I'm not
Yes, they
kidding.
do.
Oh, don't be
No,
right.
They've
they
said
don't.
some insane things.
No, I'm not saying the same things. The only
That's what the
person
public
showing
like
a
you
degree
like
of
to
nonsense.
think. It's not
No,
true.
it just
I used to
isn't
run
true.
a newspaper.
It just isn't
Yes,
true.
Piers, we know.
Yeah,
and we know
fine.
all about it.
Fine.
You don't
okay.
know all
no,
about
you think
it.
you think
clearly
you know
know
all
nothing
about
So
it.
tell me why it's true that Kate was in a farm shop, but nobody no one's available for an
Well,
interview.
why
No
don't
one that
you- why
works in the
don't
farm
Because you
you-
shop.
quite often have people going to farm shops. I was in one myself 2 weeks ago.
and without
nobody
their
took my
phones out.
picture.
Sorry, I forgot that we live in the
Come
1900s where no
Well,
one has a camera
And not
phone.
only that, but come on, this is a worldwide
I do
story
think
that
that
has
you're
gone
living-
stratospheric.
you are
If
living
you were
in
that
a
witness,
fantasy world.
we would know who that
I would
witness
imagine
was.
it's the same
we would
reason.
know who that
It's the
was.
same-
Can't just say I'm living in a
Let
fantasy
me
world.
are.
answer.
You're
Let me
living
answer.
online. You're
Let
not
me
living in
ask
the
you a
real
question.
world.
She goes to the school a lot where the kids are at school,
There are
right?
rules.
We never see pictures of them at the school taken by any of the other parents. Do you know why? They just have a respect for the two royals and know their lives are difficult and they don't want to
I appreciate
sell
that.
pictures.
I do appreciate
They
that.
should be applauded
There
for
is-
it. It may be in the farm shop. The public there has the
Should be
same view.
applauded. Listen, Russia is now trolling the UK
Yeah.
with this ridiculous and deeply offensive statement because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah.
I think that is
We can all agree about that.
terrifying and terrible. And I honestly think our Prime Minister should do something about it because he works for us, and I'm afraid the monarchy don't feel like they work for us at the minute.
Yeah, listen, I think we can all
Well,
agree on that. Rob, just
I
generally
find some
about
of the
Richard,
statements. You don't understand that there are rules and regulations that the proper media have to be run by. You can't. That story
Yeah.
would have been gone to the Kensington Palace, and they would have said yes, but please don't say where the tennis club was, and please don't do this. That's how it would have been done,
Yes,
and
it
of
would.
course they would have run the truth. That is utter nonsense.
Rob, let me ask you just generally. Richard Kate, one of the most eminent royal writers for decades, Diana's close personal friend, he wrote a very interesting piece at the weekend, basically saying that this has got a feel about it. This could be the beginning of the end of the monarchy. And we are, to remind people, we are one of the last surviving European monarchies. So this is not as far-fetched as it may seem. What do you think of that?
I thought it was a very good piece. I think it should be. I think everybody at Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace need to wake up and read that piece and accept it for what it is, and listen to people from the outside and say, look, we've got to sort ourselves out here. And I think without the king at the helm, because clearly the king, although he's doing his constitutional duties, there's a lack of continuity, a lack of authenticity, a lack of leadership since Her Majesty went. And I think that actually someone's got to get a grip here.
And the problem is the person who may have got the grip, Charles,
is not well.
He's very ill, right? He's got cancer at 75. Whatever he's got, and we don't know what it is, but we do know it's incapacitating him. And his wife, Camilla, has been having to do a lot of the work. Yes. Interestingly, I was told by somebody the other day that all that furore over her going on holiday, she didn't.
I mean, why was she going on holiday in the first place?
Well, she was having 2 days off.
Right.
I mean, she's 75 too.
No,
I mean, most women at 75 aren't working.
Listen,
they're not normally working at that age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's putting in a lot more.
I think Richard Kate piece was a very good piece, very on the button.
I agree. Look, we don't want the monarchy to end, do we? It's a special thing.
I think they've got to buck up, though.
I think there is a generational issue here. And like with the T-shirt Free Kate, we had the Free Britney. In relation to the Conservatives.
That's why you got it, Free Britney.
We have this celebrity royal family now, and we can't get away from that. And the problem is there is a disconnect between certain generations and the younger generation, and we're seeing that now in the way that people are prepared to question what they are hearing and seeing.
I'm sure that's right.
Well, why not show pictures of her looking at Get World cars or videos? Yes. No, I would have definitely, and I agree with this, definitely.
That's what they should have done.
And they have a photographer on their staff.
Yeah, I agree.
Andrew Parsons did all the backstage stuff.
I agree with you. And by the way, if they'd done that, and she looked, and if she did look slightly frailer than normal, the public sympathy would have been enormous.
It would have been.
Right, so I really think they have dropped the ball.
Absolutely.
And I think the fact that she had to carry the can for it all personally, I thought William should have been with her on that.
Yes.
And I thought the palace should have taken responsibility.
Well, it's actually what you said. 2 photographs should have been issued, and it should have been our mistake, and it should have been Kensington Palace take the buck.
Yeah.
I also want to just say something, because I do feel slightly attacked by this T-shirt, but if I was Kate... and
you're making money out of her ill health.
Listen,
you are.
I'm not making money out of her ill health. If I were Kate and I was unwell, if these stories are true, if what they're telling us is true, then genuinely I think that comedy heals. And so if she is seeing things on the internet that aren't true, like, is she made of cake? I'm sure that is in some way...
Yeah, but there's a lot worse that's been said.
Of course there is, but there's a lot worse.
And some of the things as a lawyer, I'm sure you think must be abhorrent. Yeah. And so you're taking part in that. And, at the end of the day, I think it's daft, because it's what you're freeing her from. But the fact is...
a toxic situation, perhaps.
So you think you know. I don't think that's the case. I think she's...
We don't know she thinks it's
recuperating. She's recuperating
we don't know that,
from a serious operation. That's what's
but what I'm saying is it's that celebrity mindset that you're seeing unfolding here.
There's a lot of people depending.
You know why? Because they're the biggest. They are the biggest celebrities in the world.
Yeah, and there's a lot.
That's what's been proven by
that's what we're learning now.
There's a lot of money.
I've always known that. The British royal family are the biggest stars.
But they will all be. Lots of people now with different TV shows, podcasts, everything. They're all depending on this person being out and about. At the moment, she's not out and about.
Yeah.
That is the problem. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong just because she hasn't.
I'm not sure that is the only problem, actually.
I think what you said was right. Well, they should have done that.
And I think there's a lot of problems with the royal family.
They should have done that.
Not least of when. I mean, do we know why William missed his godfather's memorial?
I think I do know. Yeah.
What do you think it was?
I think he had a disagreement with a member of the royal family. I don't believe it was anything to do with his
Really?
children.
So
I think
what
there'd
is
been
going
an
on?
issue. One thing to remember here is that they are human beings, the same as everybody else, and things happen.
Who was the other member?
I'm not going to say
Robert,
but
you make a good point.
I just think you've got to remember the human beings.
Yes,
I just think
and the fact that there are children involved, and that these children are now being mocked online.
Yeah.
And
I
that
thought
is my concern.
Absolutely,
and that was my concern.
Okay, look, let's end on all agreeing that is a concern, because it is, because they have been mocked mercilessly, and unfortunately, it was their parents' fault.
And we saw this with Harry and William when they were growing up.
You can't get away from it.
But I don't like that the internet and the that we're being told we're hounding Kate. I don't think that's fair.
Well, it is
No,
fair.
but you only see hounding when it's Meghan, not when it's a
No,
Kate.
I think-
when it's
Have you
Kate,
read
it's
some
out
of the
come the
stuff?
t-shirts,
Of course
buy
it's
one for 20
hounding.
quid, have a good laugh at her expense. But that's okay. Hypocrisy is the beauty of the world. Let me thank you all very much indeed for joining me. I appreciate it.